Hey everyone, welcome back to Fast Charging with BnB. I am Bear,
And I am Brian.
and we've got episode number 36 for you guys, where we're going to be talking about all things EV for an hour. And it's going to be a fun hour. We've got a lot of exciting, unusual, and weird stuff, as we always do. How are you
We sure
doing,
do.
Brian?
I'm doing pretty good. The 4th of July madness has passed. I'm excited about that. It is raining because that's summer, apparently.
Where you are?
Yes.
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 So, we don't get rain, so it's kind of like completely different. We're on the other end of the spectrum as far as that goes. But
Yeah, he lives in the dessert and I live in the appetizer.
yeah,
So,
but speaking of ends, what is ending?
what is ending? Oh, the tax credit, Q2.
The BMW i3.
What? You've got to be kidding me. This is breaking news to me because they were still making the BMW i3.
You didn't know that? Oh, they're all
I
over
did
the
not.
place.
I literally did not.
They are so small that they're easily overlooked, and maybe that's why they couldn't sell enough of them. But I don't know. I think 250,000 for a car like this, a niche car, is not that bad. But my opinion of this car is they are fugly. They are fugly cars. What do you think?
I love them. I think they're cool. I dig them. I've always thought they were cool.
Are you their mom or something? Oh, because you think they're cute when they're obviously not? Are you call them precious? Because that's what you call ugly babies. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I call them ugly babies. It does not go over well. No, the idea is even, these were, for a time, you could get these used for 10, 12 grand, maybe 15-ish, but the range is ridiculously short, and the production cost has to be astronomical because they're like mostly carbon fiber. But I just liked them.
What was
They look like a BMW that would appear in a science fiction movie.
It looks like a BMW that was in a cartoon. That's
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a concept that they actually built.
It looks like a BMW mated with an alien, and that's what you got.
It looks like a Mini Cooper mated with a BMW and the baby got stung by a bee.
It looks like something that comes out of a tailpipe.
Hmm. So that's good news.
Yeah, good for BMW. Let them move on to something that might actually
Yeah.
work out better for
Yeah,
them.
but that's okay because I'm sure there's new cars coming out.
Oh
Some
yeah,
that'll really fly off the shelves,
yes.
or the road.
Maybe there'll be a flying car, and it is real.
Totally, totally real. XPeng, or Xiaopeng, applied for a patent for a flying car. Looks like a real car with a giant roof rotors box. Come on.
I want to see it fly. Why isn't it
I
flying?
want to see it fly.
It's that is ridiculous. What else is on this website? Did they talk about how China's already been to Jupiter, landed some astronauts there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
that's gonna
where's the
happen.
proof? Where's the proof?
Well, it's right there in this leaked spy photo, my friend.
Did you scroll down and see the render?
I did. The render's beautiful. I love it.
Well, no, it's like grayscale, but it looks like it has a swimming pool on top of it.
Oh, I went down to the one that shows it flying over the harbor.
I didn't get that far.
Oh, go that far.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
looks just like the photograph at the top, my friend. I cannot tell them apart.
You know what? Until humans could get as far as like not scratching their rims on every curb, I don't know about flying. And it's like I don't know if I would do. I would like to do it, but I just don't trust other people and like people's cars landing on my house. I just think that would be a real possibility.
Not a fan of that. Not
No.
a fan of that. But you got to figure this is going to be. What do you think the payments would be on this?
Well, more than the national average of maybe say $700.
$700. Monthly car payments have crossed a record 700 smackaroo bobs. What does it mean?
Well, it could. There's a lot of things you can get out of that. Prices are going up, maybe because car manufacturers are producing they're more expensive cars. Because if you've got limited supplies, why put it in like a Nissan Leaf or BMW i3 when you can put it into something that's going to have a lot more profit?
Or a Civic. Car prices have gotten so high that NPR can now only afford old stock photos of a Chevy Impala or something. Yeah, they're prioritizing the highest profit cars. If you've only got enough parts to build X number of cars, got to build the expensive ones, I guess.
Yeah, I can't blame them. I mean, what are you going to do? Just build the ones that aren't going to make any profit and then sink your entire company? So you
Well, no, what you'd do is you'd build the cheapest cars, but then sell those for 50,000 and create so much bad will that it would haunt you.
That's also another good idea. You should be a CEO of a major car company.
I know.
Because I think you would do better than Mary.
How? I do not know how that is possible.
Do you think you
Digital
could?
Way Canada says, what, the 700 for the payment only? Yes, the article goes on to clarify, that's not insurance, that's not parking, that's not the gas or the juice. That's just the nut.
Just the nut, he said. Wow. So do you think?
Got to cover the nut.
Do you think you could do better than Mary? And like, if say you were in charge of producing Hummers, could you? Could you do more than 12 a day?
My guess is no, because the problems with the production at GM is that they're deeply ingrained in who they are and how they operate. I don't think anyone could fix it.
I'm sure it can be fixed. 12 a day is one every 2 hours if they're doing 24-hour shifts.
It's not great.
It's actually really bad. And it's funny.
But they're so affordable.
Yeah, they're $110,000, which is not affordable in any way. I think they have started with their tri-motor one also. I put a tweet out earlier this week or late last week. We saw a white Hummer going down the freeway. It was in front of us. It was the first one we saw in person. And it's interesting because this production line, they're all white. And right before we saw that one going down the freeway, we saw a car carrier carrying 6 Hummers, and they were all white. So are they not producing them in any other color, or is it all white?
All white, all white, all white. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, when you say they're 110, do you think you can get them for 110?
Not secondhand, that's for sure.
I paid 94 cents for mine.
Well, that's a yellow one, though. That's not real. They only make them in white.
Limited edition, baby.
That's not the EV, though. What is it?
No, it is. Isn't it? Yeah, green speed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
makes it worth
not
more.
a bad investment.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be a 100 Air soon.
That's a little optimistic. But, but
Yeah.
if I buy 200 or 300 of those, maybe.
It's possible.
Who is this believes that I overpaid, but you don't understand. When you buy an electric Hummer, that is what you have to do, is overpay. It's true to the theme.
Yeah, it is what we've seen. We talked about it last week about dealers trying to kick people out of their contracts with other horrible deals like poison pills, putting into the contract so that they can take these and resell them on the street with their adjusted dealer markup, because those guys are great. I love the dealerships and what they do for people.
They're so honest and ethical.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
But the good news is, even with the limited production of the Hummer, GM is crushing it on EV sales.
Well, when you say EV, do you mean EV or do you mean kind of EV?
Well, GM delivered over 7,000 plug-in vehicles in Q2.
Well, is that straight up EVs or are those plug-in hybrids? What's the deal here?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It does not appear to be straight BEV, which would make sense because we haven't seen a lot of deliveries of the new Bolt. So, yeah.
Well, they've got the Bolt, and that's obviously they're
Oh, you know what?
making.
It does say the Bolt EV and EUV were, so these are pure electric. On this one, 7,200, down 36%, and 1.2% of General Motors volume.
They're nailing
Leadership.
Nailing
That
it.
is leadership.
So are they a leader or a loser?
They're a loser.
Yeah.
They are good. They're leading at losing. Yeah, 7,000. But their total sales are also not good. They only delivered 582,000 vehicles in the US in the second quarter. And chew on that.
Yeah, wow.
That's not good. That's not good.
Doing the math real slowly in my head, and that's not not wonderful at all. So
Considering how many factories they have and how long they've been doing this.
supplies.
And 15% less than a year ago. And a year ago, they were just coming out of lockdown, man.
They totally forgot who. Somebody lost the Rolodex that had all their suppliers' numbers in it because they forgot how to contact
No, is
them.
that real?
That's what happened. They lost the Rolodex.
Must be.
I can't think of any other logical reason.
But, other car companies in America are doing better.
Ford is making promises now. This is an actual letter from Ford in order for a Mach E that was made in February, and their promise, and this is like deep. This is from the heart. That we don't know when your car is going to be made. We're going to still blame supply chain issues. It's also Putin's fault. And by the way, we'll let you know every 45 days. Now don't bother us. Now, I understand that there was a recall on the Mach E, but they now have a fix for the recall. So Ford is actually found a way to do an over-the-air update for what seemed almost like a major problem. So I'm actually impressed for them. Unfortunately, that
For sure.
over-the-air update will not be ready till July or August, which I would wait for personally. I would risk the fact that the car cuts off with no power. I'd still give it a shot, just because it's rare, and I hate going to the dealer.
Yeah. I would agree that it is rare, and I would also continue driving like nothing happened and hope for the best.
Agreed. So,
But I also wouldn't be driving it hard enough that the overheating would be likely to be much of an issue. And I also don't live in the desert.
I totally would screw it up then. So the odds just went up because I would totally run it really hot. I would slam on the accelerator. I would never use the brake, and it's 105 degrees outside, and it's a cool day. So it might actually die for me, so maybe I should.
And
well, I don't have it yet, so.
In your chat, My Charge DV said, Ford fanboys talking down Tesla's 250,000 quarterly sales. Meanwhile, Ford sold a whopping 4,000 EVs in the same period. LOL.
Yeah. I've got my Ford. I got my Mustang on order. I'll be a sale one day soon. So this past quarter, I helped Tesla sales with one, and I helped Polestar with one, and a couple other companies. But whose sales are not going up?
Surprisingly, Toyota North America reports their U.S. sales, and it is not good. In June, they were down 18% on a volume basis and 21% on a daily selling basis. Toyota is getting slapped around.
Yeah, that's very surprising. Toyota has a reputation for having really good cars. Now the question is, Are they selling everything on their lots and they just don't have more to sell? Is it a supply issue? Or is there something else going on here?
I assume I don't know, both. Lexus only sold 22,000 cars in June. I mean,
Okay.
that's
All right, so I'll tell you, I was at a Toyota dealership a month or two ago, and I was also at a Lexus dealership, and I will say there was very limited supply on those lots. I didn't go to every single one of them. I didn't travel the world, but the two that I went to, there was a very limited supply, and when I went in for the Toyota place to talk about hybrids, they said any type of hybrid that you want is on back order. You have to put your name on a list, and you have to give us $10,000 extra dollars, and a happy ending. Like, well, that's too much. So they are selling their cars. I think that they are having supply issues. I don't think has anything to do with their cars. It has to do with supplies.
they have 20 electrified options between Toyota and Lexus. So
Yeah.
surely you can get one of those, either the Buzz Forks or one of the 19 hybrids.
You're not getting a buzz fork.
You are not.
Oh, I'm not, but I just mean in general, you're not, because there's just
No, that's what I mean is
Yeah.
they're
So,
too limited.
so I read today. What do you think the most popular hybrid for Toyota was? For
The Prius.
No, not even
Really?
close. Not even close.
Really?
The RAV4 was number one for hybrid sales, and what do you think was number two?
The Prius.
No, not even close. Not even close. It was the Toyota Sienna.
Really?
Really? Yep, the hybrid minivan. So those are some pretty interesting numbers that I happen to see on an article that I did not choose for today, that would have fit in really well right here. They are selling a decent amount of hybrids. There's no question about that. And it's just a damn shame that the dealers are trying to steal from the commoners like us. Just saying. I got to
Some of us are more common than others.
Yeah, I just got to throw in a little bashing because.
Yeah.
Oh, My Charge EV says that you're going to get a recall notice on your little Hummer.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Buzzfork style. The wheels pop off and choke you.
Nice. Scott also said supply issue. They had 7 vehicles on the lot in Surprise, Arizona. So,
Yeah, that supports what you were saying, Scott. Thank you for sharing that. It's hard to sell cars when you don't have any.
yeah. And I think most of these companies are going down in sales because they can't produce things, which goes back to their ability to adapt, because other companies like Tesla have adapted. I understand that they're still producing less cars than Toyota, but their sales numbers are
For how
going
long?
up. Yeah, not
For how long? Is anybody even close to overtaking Tesla, you think?
Yeah, that company bid.
Bid. Yeah.
Oh, and if you're from the South, because there's a Y, it's going to be bad.
Bad.
Yeah, bad.
It'd be BYD. Overtake Tesla as the world's largest EV maker. How did that happen? How did this sneak up on us?
Well, is this again? We go back to how are these numbers being reported? Are these all EVs, or are they hybrids, or are they plug-ins?
Yes. It includes hybrids
and plug-in hybrids.
Mm-hmm. There is some nuance between vehicles sold by the two EV makers. Tesla's over 500,000 cars sold in the first half are all battery electric without internal combustion engines. So I appreciate that BYD is making the most of their battery supply. BYD will soon be providing cells for Giga Shanghai, which rounds out the top five global battery producers: Panasonic, LG, Samsung, BYD, and who's the other one? CATL.
Oh, yeah.
All 5 of those are now officially Tesla suppliers, plus Tesla themselves, who will at some point be in the mix there. And at number 6, if you gotta dance with whoever's left when the lights go up, and you gotta pick some some BMW i3 to go home with. Number 6 is SK Innovations. Good job, Ford. You got someone.
Yeah. Wow, that really didn't sound very nice.
Oh, hey man. At least he ain't going home alone.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But speaking of being alone at the top, the Lucid Air GT Performance broke some records at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and it kind
Tell
of
me all about it.
well, I could, but it looks like they were kind of shunned by the rest of the rest of the group of people because it's not as traditional as they'd like. Not fancy with the Formula One kind of look, and people weren't as proud that they should have been of this car. And I think this car did an amazing job breaking this record. I mean, it's not that it's a great big record or anything, but it's it's big for the people
It's
that are
a record.
yeah, it's big for the people that are involved in it. And I know Lucid was very proud of it. It's not something that's easy to do, but the Lucid Air lacks the supercar look, where something like Fast and Furious, it doesn't look like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but
Right.
that's not the goal. It's a freaking sedan, and
Yeah.
and it's beat all of these cars. So I think it's kind of a little bit of a nose up jealous thing, to be honest with you.
I would agree, because did you scroll down to see the McMurtry Spearling? That's a Batmobile, man. That's a hot little car.
Yeah.
And that will turn heads. That could come in last and still turn heads.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come in last. It's a fast car. But it's also a purpose-built race car.
Yes, it is. And a stock GT Performance, well, yeah, it does have more power than you will ever need. I will
Right.
guarantee you that 100%. I drove the GT, and that had more power than I'd ever need, but not want. There's always more. But the Model S has more power than you need, and they still made a Plaid on top of that.
Do we know what kind of production numbers we're looking at for Q2?
For Lucid? Whew!
Yes, sir.
We don't have anything official at all. I'm going to throw out my guess. Before I do that, I want to thank My Charge EV for the super chat. Appreciate the help there.
And I would also like to thank My Charge TV for the super chat, for the extra
Hey.
support for the live show. Thank you.
Double whammies.
Double
Yeah.
whammy.
Double whammies. All right, thank you, My Charge EV. And so my guess is going to be around 1,000. Now,
Are they still targeting 25,000 for the year, or 50,000? What was the number? Do you remember?
it's 12,000 is the low range, and it's going to be hard for them to get to the 12. I'm not even going to talk about the high range, but they've got their supply issues. That's what's was holding them back. Of course, they had a recall issue that didn't help, and I think some cars were delayed because of that. But they've got the recall issue addressed for the most part. They probably have 300 cars sitting in the lot today, but they've got to get shipped out. They're not all ready to go. We did see 2 car carriers. That's probably another 12 cars being taken out. So they're going out. Question is, how many do they get out? And John, Let's Go Lucid says 500 got sold on the report. I heard a rumor earlier today about 500, but I had nothing to back it up with. John, is that just something you heard on the interweb? And what report? What report? 1,117 delivered before March 4th, 2022. Okay, so
But is that lifetime?
no, that's up to end of quarter 1. So
Right. But not, yes. But not in Q1, but through Q1.
yeah, but that only counts quarter 4 of 2021 and quarter 1.
Okay. Well, interesting. What about Rivian's production numbers? Do we know anything about that?
Ooh, I could not find anything on that either. What do you think that's going to be? You have to guess on that one.
So, yeah. I don't know because I don't follow it. In Q1 they produced 2,500 and delivered half. So I think in this quarter they will produce 3,000 maybe, and deliver more than that. So
Well,
catch up on some of the deliveries that were not made in Q1.
okay. Any idea
You
why
don't
they?
think it'll be 3,000?
I'm not sure. I like you. I'm not following Rivian that much. Had they decided to build a factory here, I might have followed them a little bit more. But I do see them having issues with things that are delaying the production and the deliver, or I should say the deliveries, just like Lucid is. So I'm not sure what their numbers are going to be. I hope that I'd be happier if they had 3,000 or 4,000. Think as long as they're starting to make progress and they're not having quality issues, then that's a good thing.
The concern I've read is that they're not going to be able to make a profit even at 110 to 130,000. The cars are just too complex and too labor intensive to build, and the parts are outrageously expensive.
Well, we'll just have to see if when they scale up, if their margins will increase.
Right.
And that's part of the game is you can't produce like 12 Hummers a day and make a profit. And likewise with Rivian, you can't do 3,000 in a quarter and make a profit either. Nikola says that they have to, they're not going to be making a profit or some sort of positive margin until they're producing well over 2,000 trucks a year, if not more. So
Jason pointed out, what about Candy? I bet they beat GM too. So what we were looking at was the U.S. numbers. If you include global numbers, GM claims all of the vehicles made by Wuling Huangguang, the Mini, that $5,000 car. So at that point, they're just padding the numbers. So
not a car.
yeah, not. I mean, it has wheels, and it moves.
My Cyberquad was like a third of that price.
That was a car. That was a real car.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. I swear it wasn't.
Yeah.
So you got this? You want me to get it?
I'll do this.
Right.
Tesla came out with their numbers. 258,580 was what was produced, within 0.7% of Wall Street estimates, which is good. I expected it to not move the stock either way today, but of course, on good news, the stock goes down. So on bad news, the stock goes down. And on no news, the stock apparently goes down. So that's convenient.
So I heard that Stephen Mark Ryan got within like 33 on predicting the production numbers.
Yeah, so that's his marketing. That's his marketing claim. What he actually did is he put out the numbers on Patreon. So nobody saw them. I mean, a couple hundred people must have seen them before they were actually reported. And he puts out three numbers: the bear case, the base case, and the bull case. And he missed on all of them. It was outside of that range, but only by 33. So he's not a sniper. He's target practice with birdshot, and he still missed. So that's, I love me some Stephen Mark Ryan. Except when he gets too political. I'm not here for that. But no, he missed.
So how did you do?
I came within 900 and some. I don't have it in front of me. Somebody in the chat could probably tell me. 980 maybe. I was on deliveries. Out of the 6 quarters I've made my predictions, I've been the closest twice. So 33% of the time. And I've been in last place just once. So, yeah, and it's a lot of times my numbers are not in the pack, and I still sometimes do quite well.
Well, I think you did quite well in this quarter also. So, congratulations,
yeah,
Brian.
I was only twice as good as Wall Street, so I mean,
as far as I'm concerned, you're number one.
Well, I was.
Well, Barry, it's not even an opinion; it's a fact.
It is a fact. And there's a lot of criticism of these numbers of the two, down, they're so far down. No, we know why. The factory in Shanghai was closed for a prolonged period of time. Um, this was not a surprise. That's what happens when a factory is required by law to close.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the people who hate all things Musk or Tesla will find any reason to scream from mountaintops that the sky is falling,
Mm-hmm.
even when it is not.
I was just sent something on Twitter saying something about U.S. light vehicle sales quarter 2 2022. I don't know how accurate it is, but it has Lucid. It has Lucid down for 500, and it has Rivian down for 700.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
So
I had heard numbers like that, but we shall see. And honestly, looking out a year, 500 versus 1,000 is not critical today. It's not going to be critical in the survival of the company. They do need to get their business in order, but we shall see.
Yes, we shall have to. So
John Yent said no Tesla production semi numbers, and that is correct. It's not on the report. We may find out something different on July 20th in the earnings call, but for now the number is rock steady, holding steady, Q over Q at 0.
0.
Yeah. It's a nice round number. The roundest of all, really.
I can't. That's one of those numbers I have a hard time remembering, and I can't multiply it by anything. It just confuses my brain.
Have you tried dividing it?
No, you see, you're making it harder for me. Stop that.
See, I think you just got frozen there for a second.
I got frozen?
Well, no, I mean the question froze you.
Oh, okay. I thought
Your
maybe
video was fine.
I thought maybe you were
stuck in a
pulling
loop.
one of your frozen things to trick me again.
No. Let it
right.
go, Elsa.
Let it go. Let it go. So, new cars.
Real quick on that.
Yeah.
Who is this said, yeah, those Tesla semis driving down the road are figments of our imagination. They're not. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying they don't count as production because they're still test vehicles.
They are prototypes. They're not sellable vehicles
Yet.
Yeah, and in some of the test trucks that might be going to Pepsi or Frito-Lay or whoever, those also might be test trucks that are not sellable. They just may give it to them for testing purposes. Or
John also asked if I predicted 0 semis because he did not see them in my spreadsheet. I didn't include them because my prediction was 0, but even if my prediction was 10, I wouldn't have included it because that's a rounding error. Maybe next quarter.
So, you know who's doing actually pretty good on production?
No.
Polestar.
Who?
Polestar.
What does that look like?
Well, I think they're kind of nice looking. What do you think?
The color is one of my favorites.
That color I saw at a car wash, and I went up to the lady. I said, "What color is this? I love this color." And she said, "It's called Moon," but she said it with a French accent because she was from France, and I'm not going to do a French accent, but real nice lady. Saw her at the car wash a couple of times. I'm like, I love the color. So I ordered it, and it came in last week. We're not going to talk about the fact that I own the car or anything, but I just wanted to show you guys some pictures, and I'm going to tell you a couple things I don't like about the car. I do like the style a lot better than I thought I would. I like the wheels that came with it. Those are stock. And if you go to like the last picture, looking at the interior, I'm not a big fan of a black touchscreen. White is better. Black shows every bit of dust and every fingerprint, and it makes it very hard to see the screen. The user interface is a little weird and awkward, so it takes a little bit getting used to. Same thing with that shifter handle. The car, though, overall is nice. I'm not going to really complain about it, except for that screen and the Google Maps, like the Lucid. It's jittery. It has a little jit to it. Pause, go, pause, go, pause, go. So I think this is a decent car, and I'm real excited to see the Polestar 3 that's going to come out next year.
Mm. I actually found a pretty glaring error on your listing here.
What's that?
It says that you're a 5-star man, and I find that plain dubious.
Well, it's 5 out of 10.
Out of yeah, I'm a 5% host.
Yeah.
The star is the more of an asterisk, really. You got to scroll down to see that.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things on a Polestar, and I don't know if we've talked about this or not, if you look at the car, like look at pictures like anything 7 or 6, it doesn't say Polestar on it almost anywhere. There's an emblem on the front and the back, and on the wheels, the center caps, they have the Polestar image. But if you zoom in on the side of the car on the front door, they've got like a little sticker. And
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to ask.
and I'm not even sure that it's supposed to remain on there, because it literally is just a sticker. And if you zoom in, it says Polestar 2. You can't see it in this pic. I can't zoom in on it, but it gives the battery size. It's like 78.3 kilowatt. But it's almost like the sticker you'd pull off the screen or something when you buy something new. It's got the sticker covering the screen. It's almost like that. I've left it on. I'm not sure why I did, but that's the only thing on the outside that says Polestar. You're a new company, don't you think you want to advertise?
Well, we're doing stealth marketing instead of regular marketing.
Yeah.
How you feel about the build quality, the comfort, the panel gaps, all the whatever?
Actually, most of it's pretty good. I really haven't seen anything as far as panel gaps that upset me. Everything seems very solid. The center console, if you go back to picture number 9, is really different. Okay, it's a lot different than you would normally see. It's got 2 cup holders. One of them is like permanently covered. You have to pull up the center console to use the second cup holder in the front. That's not a good idea. The other cup holder is like right in the middle between the seats. Also not great because it's kind of awkwardly pushed behind you or directly to the right of you. So there's a lack of cup holders. I will say that. The center AC vent, you can't see it, can you?
Is it behind the screen?
It is behind the screen.
Is it that narrow slot?
Yeah, it's not as narrow as it looks. It's just this picture on picture number 9. But there is a vent right there, and it's designed to blow up and over the touchpad, and as opposed to directly in your face. Little weird, and I'll tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little story. The Polestar guy who delivered it to me, man, these millennials, you guys got to know some sort of etiquette. He was helping me type in my password, or not helping me type in the password, helping me get the account set up. And I typed in the password for the Polestar like several times, and it didn't work. And I kept getting the feeling that he was watching me type it in. And this is my password. It's to my luggage and everything. And he's just watching. And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. And then he goes, "Are you meaning to put those 2 numbers at the end?" I'm like, I turned to him. I said, "You know what? I know you're trying to help, but you can't be watching people type in their password. You're supposed to turn your head. I don't know why they haven't taught you this, because you do this with people all the time." I said, I'm nice about it, but someone is going to hit you in the back of the head when you're going to, as you sit there and steal their password to get in. You don't do that. And the kid was probably like 20 years old. He had to be.
So we've got 2 theories in the chat on the name. Paul believes they're probably too ashamed to put their name on it. And MyChargeEV says, Polestar sounds like the title of a porno movie. Polestar.
Okay. Yeah.
So many more jokes that I'm not going to tell.
Go ahead. It's not like it's going to kill our advertising revenue on this.
Starring Jocelyn McCarkoff and Hey, would you blow me? So let's see what else we got going on here.
So, um, the hell, you, a toaster?
Yep. The bread pops out
How
of the
m-
top. It's
how many
very
s-
large bread.
How many slices of bread?
Well, I was two, but they're very large.
It reminds me of the dog Clifford, the big red dog, or whatever color he was.
He was red.
Yeah, okay, so that's his toaster, right?
Mm-hmm. That way. Nope, not gonna make that joke. No, don't do it, Brian. Resist.
Do it.
Well, it's a kid show, so they want to make sure that when the carrot appears, it's not visible or noticeable if it matches the color of the dog.
Oh. It's an interesting theory.
So Canoo debuts NASA transport vehicles at Kennedy Space Center. Interesting. They only got the X's, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm. I know they look like toasters, but they are cute.
They are cute.
Yeah.
And for a shuttle, for a taxi, they're a great form factor. They've probably got easier in and out than almost anything. Maybe a little easier than the X, I don't know.
I think it could be easier than the X.
Yeah, there's a picture in the slideshow that shows astronauts sitting in it. Oh, interesting.
For real, sitting in it?
Yes, they're wearing orange.
Well, I mean, are we sure that's the back of a canoe?
Based on those goofy quarter windows, I believe it is.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find the quarter windows. Yeah, I think so. I think that this is what they will use when they're not launched on SpaceX. This is what they will use when they're launched on Dreamliner.
You think they're ever going to launch on Dreamliner?
Yes, and I believe Canoo will enter mass production.
And you believe that I will become a movie star by 7 p.m. tonight and be offered a contract for $1 billion.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I'd like you to get your autograph before it's too late.
And you probably
This is the internet, Bear. People don't lie.
Yeah, that's true. Totally forgot about that. They're cute, and if they do come out, and I probably would drop $100 to reserve one if they're actually coming out.
Well, I don't believe the goal was ever to sell them to the public.
Really?
The goal was to operate them strictly as taxis, as a fleet or as a ride share or something.
For a rental? Well,
I don't believe the intention was direct to consumer sales.
Yeah, it always sounds like a good idea to always limit your sales.
It is for a startup, because then you can say we've hit our sales targets.
Yeah. 4.
We actually sold 5. We are 25% over our sales intentions.
Seabass had
Leadership like that, GM's going to snatch you up.
Oh yeah, Seabass thinks this looks a little bit like a Previa. Previas were rounder, especially in the front. But yeah, I can see it. And he had also asked, is there anything Volvo-ish about the Polestar stripping thing? And I can't tell you that because I've never really driven a Volvo. And so I don't really have much experience with Volvos at all. So I'm not sure that there is. And I'm probably glad I don't, because Volvo just makes me think of, like, well, forget. I don't even want to get into that. Nothing good.
So Jason is saying that they are pivoting away from the subscription model, since there isn't really a market for that in the U.S.
Agreed.
I would agree. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying it would require a cultural shift for which Americans seem ill-prepared.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely
Oh,
agree with
that's all
that.
the news we got, I think.
Nah,
Do you know
nah.
that? Do you know that Teslas are now scanning for potholes and rough roads to help avoid them?
And that's a good damn thing. I gotta say, driving on autopilot and you see something coming up on the road like a pothole, the car has always been like, oh look, a pothole. I'm gonna nail it. It's almost like it's going for it because it's like you see it, the car's gotta see it, and the car's doing nothing, and you're like, do I jerk the wheel out of autopilot and move, or will it do anything? And all it ever does was go into the pothole. Same thing if you're about to run something over. So I think that should have come out a while ago because potholes can
I
really
got a
mess up your
message
car.
earlier today from Bob, who's one of my viewers, who I've had the pleasure of meeting in person, who thought he was crazy. He was on a road trip this weekend, and twice it swerved on him, and he's like, "Did you see that? Did anybody see that but me? I swear it just dodged that pothole." And then he sees the article come out, and he's like, "Aha! I'm not crazy, or at least for a different reason."
Yeah, I'm going back to that pothole. I want to see it again.
Mm-hmm. And the beauty of this is, and people don't look at this from an investor standpoint as a shareholder, the beauty of this is, if you're running a little lean on profit for the quarter, just start hitting the potholes and replacing the wheels. No, not a good idea.
I think it would work. I definitely think you should put some sort of patent on that. Let me know how that goes.
Thinking outside the box is what we call this, my friend.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I would definitely agree.
And because parts are so readily available, in 3 quarters, you'll get that profit.
True. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Part of this was also, I believe, raising and lowering the suspension on rough roads on the Model S, which I think is kind of cool also. And I've apparently you can't drive on high, you can't have your suspension on high over 15 miles per hour on a Model S. It's going to automatically lowers it.
That makes sense because there's only given one direction at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm still trying to figure out the suspension thing on the Model S. It seems simple enough, but you never know if you got it where you want it, and you never know if it's actually working because it's one of those things that happens in the background.
Subtly.
Yeah, subtly.
Yeah.
And while you're driving, so there's no way to get an idea of it. So.
Well, I think that's all we've got.
JJ still here? Because maybe we'll throw him a bone.
Nikola is still short of shareholder support to issue new stock, hampered by Trevor.
Yep, Trevor is trying to burn it all to the ground. Don't let him. If you are a Nikola share owner and or shareholder and you have not voted, please do vote. They needed another 2% of positive votes. And remember that the 2%? Way that 2%. The way this works, if you don't vote, it's a no vote. So they need to get the 50% of people actually saying yes. So vote.
With the exception of a single stockholder, Trevor represents 85% of the no votes.
Yeah, isn't that horrible?
It is literally in his hands right now, and he's saying, burn it down.
Burn it to the ground.
Yeah, somebody inside the company, somebody inside his inner circle needs to talk some sense into him, because I get that you don't want a little bit of dilution, but the alternative could be you get nothing.
Yeah. So he's getting great advice from somebody. Don't know who it is.
Yeah.
But I imagine if he's found guilty, he's going to lose quite a bit of money, and it's not going to matter.
Well, his financial advisor, I don't know if you know this, officially, is that little red guy who sits on his shoulder and gives him really good advice.
Is that the guy that has the pitchfork?
Oh, you've seen his commercials?
Yeah, I sure have.
I think I saw him on CNBC.
Actually, I have an advisor that looks just like that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he had a friend who was yellow, but he killed him.
Huh.
Yep,
Nice.
he's dead.
Nice. Well,
So
we're doing great on time. We've only got a couple more things here.
yeah, so Nikola is going to be finally introducing their new Nikola Tre for the European market, and rumor has it that it's going to be a 4x2 electric truck. It's probably going to be very similar to the tray that they have, but just a slightly shorter version so that it works much gooder in the continent of Europe. So
What is a 4x2?
it's how many wheels I think it has.
Hmm. Hmm. Someone in the chat should tell us. And the beauty here is, that's a lot of vehicles, dude,
What's a lot of vehicles?
that they will have on display.
Oh, 27?
16 in the booth, 27 more outside.
Well, that's a Veco. That's going to be a mix of trucks.
Oh, I
They'll
see.
they'll probably have one.
Among them
Yes.
will be the... Okay. Well, that's... Still. Are these going to be manufactured at the Iveco plant in Ulm?
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that's a factory that's already running and streamlined.
Yes and no, because there's nothing really coming out of there that we know of. So that,
They make other stuff.
but they've got a line that was dedicated to Nikola for the Nikola Tre. So
I think they were awaiting a regulatory approval to switch it on, would be my guess.
it's been like a year.
Yeah. Regulatory approval, man. I don't know. I would not
Bribes.
bet against the competency of an established company like that.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There just
It'd be
hasn't.
like if you had Peterbilt making your trucks here.
Yeah, there just hasn't been a lot of news from Ulm, so we are waiting to see what comes out. And
I think that's their city slogan. It says it on the welcome sign. Hasn't been a lot of news out of Ulm.
but we're waiting to see what comes out.
You guys need to work on your tourism campaign. It is not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. JJ says for a super chat, he says, "Oh, that's a Nikola Iveco factory. Get it right, LOL." Yes, it is a Nikola Iveco factory, but we haven't heard much news. So, and Deprez says configuration 4.2 is 6 wheels. So you're losing the last axle.
Yeah. So it's instead of 10 wheels, you got 6.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes
Makes sense.
It makes it shorter. You can carry less of a load, but you can use it in European market a lot easier.
Yeah.
So that's.
Did you know that, speaking of Peterbilt, that Peterbilt has robot trucks on the highways of Texas in testing?
All right, that really sounds scary. Why do they got to be robots?
Well, because do you know how you change voltage in electricity? With a transformer.
Okay.
I accept your silence. By the way, that also votes as counts as a no vote. Yeah, fittingly for Texas, these Peterbilts are adorned with a sensor display above the windshield that looks much like a set of longhorns.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. A year ago, 3 years ago, I'd have said I'm a little worried about killing the number one profession in the U.S., which is driving. But there's a driver shortage. There's a labor shortage for every kind of thing. And it's abundantly clear that even with the driver shortage, these companies are not willing to pay what it takes for a driver to have any kind of quality of life, which is ridiculous. And this is the future. And I know because I watched a documentary called Logan, in which they were showing that all of the semis of the future are self-driving and homicidal, which is also canon.
Do you remember the year in that movie was supposed to be like 2027 or something like that?
Was it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
When you started talking about this, I was thinking about Logan, and you're like, "Oh, I saw a documentary," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, I saw one on Logan. They had no cabs or anything; they were just zipping by." Didn't they
I
hit
love the design of them. They're just underneath the
Yeah,
container.
they're just a skateboard,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
comes down to it. That's kind of all that's needed.
yeah. Maybe a wind deflector.
Yeah, I guess that would help.
But not if you're in a caravan. Not if you're platooning. Only the front one needs any kind of.
That's true.
Yeah.
Documentary called Logan.
So we've got mere minutes left because we're so good at this. For those who don't know, if you stayed this long, you don't know this. I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy. But we simulcast this on a Bears Workshop and on My Tesla Live, the second channel of My Tesla Weekend, where we have fun on both channels all the time with a variety of live streams and news and crazy stuff.
So thank you guys for being here. I want to thank my Patreons for being patriotic and supporting me and Brian, because that's what keeps us going. So a big thank you to all the Patreons for both channels for being here.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. And it is, YouTube doesn't pay well, at least not for channels of our size. This is
our size, 6 inches.
Yeah, I mean, speak for yourself, but the Patreons quite literally make it happen.
Yes.
There was a time there recently when YouTube was performing so poorly that without Patreon, I would have probably had to drop to one video a week, which would have killed the channel itself.
Yep.
Thank you guys for that.
Yeah. All right. And when is your next show?
My next live show will be on Friday at 7 p.m., as I always do. Before then, I've got the third part of the interview with Tesla Herbert coming up on Wednesday. And maybe later tonight, I'll be able to get out the cathode building progress for the week. I am redoing the spreadsheet from scratch based on the information that we now have, which is better than the information we had before, and will give us more accurate numbers.
That sounds fantastic. My next live stream is on Thursday. We'll be of the Lucid site, doing a flyover of that, and then talking it up, like making it seem like it's better than it actually is, which is what I do for both Lucid and Nikola. So that's my next live stream.
And Bear, I want to thank you, of course, for hanging out.
Brian, I want to thank you for putting up with me because I was so late today. So
it's not easy. It's not easy.
Oh, it's easy. It's just lengthy. But hey, we made it.
Oh, you meant the show. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking about.
Holy smokes. That took a turn.
I don't know where you're driving, but it's the wrong direction.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I'm referring to the documentary Polestar.
Oh. She was the star of the pole. Her name was Candy.
Don't make custom music like they used
Yeah.
to. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you, next time.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.